Hello there, and welcome to Thank the Maker, a podcast about heroes, princesses, scoundrels, hokey religions, ancient weapons, and all things Star Wars. I'm Adam Russell.
Hey, I'm Nick Yanbarian.
And I'm SM33, ready to lose his head.
Oh, he's back.
Oh man, what? Hey, it's Mike Forster.
He's part of the ship now.
He's part of the ship now. Wow, this television series just keeps getting better. What is going on here?
It was so good that Mike and I accidentally wore the same hoodie.
You know what I mean?
Same hoodie.
This is the At Aton battle dome right here, or the Death Star Trench Run, whatever you want to say. But man, this episode of Skeleton Crew, sneaky good. I had no idea what to expect, and I think that's why we're like all in love with this show.
A lot of meat on the bones of this one. Because
Nice.
I went to press play and it was like
chopped.
36 minutes, and I was like, okay, short one for the penultimate episode, you know, and then It was just like, boom, all meat.
All meat,
Boom,
baby.
like this. Boom, like this.
Nice.
Dead. That was, for listeners, that was a miming of a blaster and miming of a lightsaber.
Ah, right.
Familiar to Star Wars fans.
Right.
Weapons. Yeah, dude, I don't know how to top this episode for a finale, which is an all too common thing, where the penultimate episode is like the one. But you got a lot to wrap up in a finale. The goodbyes, the happy endings, whatever. But it also seems like there's so much to wrap up. Do we have an idea what the runtime's going to be? Has that leaked yet? Has it been announced?
I haven't seen that. I do know that the showrunners are directing it, though, right?
Yeah.
They announced that, so yeah.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone has known what they're doing, but they really know what they're doing. So I'm excited for it.
Right. I think Mark did the opener, right? Or was it both of them together, or was it just Mark Webb?
Mark Webb.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about, bro.
What?
Webb, like Spider-Man?
Mark Webb,
Christopher
director
Ford
of,
and John Watts.
Sorry, John Watts.
Mark Webb directed music videos back in the day.
Nice. John Watts did the opening, the pilot,
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing the finale.
Believe so. If not
Yes.
both of them. Are they not credited for both of them? I remember Star Wars put out that graphic on Instagram. I'll look real quick.
Yeah. I mean, all in all, I think this is what I love about this series is it's been incredibly consistent. I would say probably the only one that seemed, now looking back retrospectively, that seemed to kind of set more up than it gave us progression of the story was probably the At Akron episode. And it still gave us plenty of clues and details. But I think what we're starting to see in here is a throwback to, I think all of the characters are kind of being set up for their own version of a finale, right? I think us seeing Fern versus Jod, which they've been at each other's throats the whole series. I think him calling her out specifically, it's like he's totally dismissed Wim at this point.
Yeah.
And we know that the frigate's outside of the barrier. Whatever's going to happen, and I think you're going to start to, I think it's all going to make sense. I think they're all going to be put into place here, baby.
Yeah.
Was there something? Oh, by the way, John Watts is directing. He directed the first one. He's directing the last one. Is there something still in the trailer, Adam? You would know that there's some X-wings that we didn't see yet that are in like
Not
battle
X-Wings,
mode.
The
Fang fighters, or no? Yeah, they look like Fang fighters, but they're called pirate snubs.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the one that went the volunteer to go through the barrier.
That
Right,
vein
couple of
flies,
those.
and
Yeah.
So they seem like they breached the barrier in the last episode.
Well, the shot that's still left from the trailer is one or two of them crashing into an asteroid. And also on that, speaking of that, so there were a few things that I missed week to week that I would go back and correct the next week, including in this I'm talking about the reels that I've been doing with the remaining trailer footage on our Instagram. The shot of Fern on the speeder bike kept leaving that in there because I didn't remember her being in that dark tunnel. That was from the first episode. But the one I couldn't find that we talked about over and over was Wim and his dad, or just Wim's dad on a speeder. Maybe it was on the back. I couldn't find that. I went through all the trailers, but we saw that somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't find it anywhere. Maybe it was in one of the TV spots that they
could have been,
put on YouTube. But
yeah.
The funniest thing, a friend who actually works at ILM said, dude, I asked him if he worked on Skeleton Crew. He said, no, I was working on Alien Romulus. And funny enough, I keep seeing this clip in your trailer footage thing that's from Alien Romulus.
What?
So it's one of, I think it might be the first clip in the most recent one I put in Reels. It's just like a storm cloud from a distance, like a nebula or something like that.
Sure.
And a tiny little ship flying in. That's from Alien Romulus.
That's insane.
It's also this trailer is also from a YouTube channel that reposts trailers. It had different text on it, but it's a trailer that I remember seeing that I couldn't find, and I found it on this YouTube. So, and there's no other weird footage in there. It's all including some clips that are longer than they are in other trailers. It's like an actual Disney trailer, and I wonder if because trailer houses cut together, trailers for all kinds of different things. It's not all in a house. They hire out people who specifically do trailers. I wonder if they just accidentally dropped that Romulus clip in there.
Right.
Or you're the notes in the trailer say exterior planet entering atmosphere, and either they go, here we have this cool silver ship flying into this green gaseous planet, and the director's like, dude, don't give that away, and they're like, all right, we'll find something else. It's like, I think all in all, this episode was kind of like a lot of the reveals that we were curious about.
Yeah.
But also giving us something that, now adds to more questions. I think the asteroids are interesting because this makes me either think the asteroid either makes me think that some part of the planet gets destroyed, or there is some kind of defense mechanisms that just evacuates ships, or what is their security protocol of when the planet is breached. Makes me think that the planet could move, could do something, and these guys are going to all get transported. There's got to be some security protocol beyond just the
beyond just the barrier. But we now know that the barrier is so much bigger than the planet itself. It seems to be
that was interesting reveal.
Like moon orbit
right
size almost. So there's no reason to think that there aren't a few asteroids or moons orbiting, and let's say they shut down the barrier remotely because the frigate's still up there. There's no reason to think they wouldn't deploy some ships, and then there's a battle and yada yada yada.
I'm still holding out to think that there's some post-credit scene or something where they're gonna end up somewhere that's connected to the rest of the Star Wars verse. Just because, I don't know,
so, man.
I'm just saying.
I really hope so.
Just you heard it here first, okay?
I feel like this show is so good and it's so well loved at this point that there's no way this is going to be the only season, even if it is super expensive. And I feel like the ending is going to indicate that, because it's not just, it ended with Jod standing there with the parents with a damn lightsaber, I'm going to chop up your kids and then you. And we're in 33 minutes or whatever next week, we're going to get the whole end. That's insane. This is not, we're not anywhere near the end, in my opinion.
Right. Well, the fact that, there's, I don't know. Should we kind of get into it from, are we straight up chopping it up? What are we doing?
Well, let's get into it. Nick, you want to do Stolen Plans?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
What have you done with those plans?
Skeleton Crew Season 1, Episode 7, titled We're Gonna Be in So Much Trouble. The Disney Plus description, our heroes have never felt further from home. I remember reading that and then watching the episode. I'm like, they're literally on home. What is that description? But the word felt is very important there.
Yeah.
Run time, 36 minutes. Directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who we know from season 3 of The Mandalorian. He directed an episode called The Convert. I think it was the 3rd episode of season 3. Minari was his breakout film, and he also
Great
recently just directed Twisters.
Which was
and
great.
Yeah, I have not seen it. Here we go. And the show was written by the showrunners, Christopher Ford and John Watts.
Good old Ford.
Yeah. I didn't find any notable guest stars. There was one that popped up that I thought would have been somebody, Stephen Fry, but I think I'm thinking of a different Stephen Fry.
No. It's definitely the same
It's
Stephen
that
Fry.
guy?
as the
Okay.
supervisor. Yeah. It's
Stephen
the one.
Fry, this scientist?
He's an actor. I looked it up.
Yeah.
It has an IMDb page, but I didn't recognize anything that he's done, though.
He was in V for Vendetta. He was the one who helped Evie, probably most notably for our listeners. But
I remember him.
He's a legend in the UK. And he's
so it is that Stephen Fry then.
He narrated the book or he narrated the voice for Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. If you listen to the audiobook, yep. So you definitely know his voice. I think okay. So we're starting this off. We're talking about the opening scene, and we're just kind of skipping through. How do we want to break this down? This is good stuff.
Well, I didn't take a ton of notes. A bunch of shit was going on here,
Sure.
but do you have thoughts, Mike? You're asking in a way that sounds like you have thoughts.
Do I have thoughts? I have thoughts. We have a podcast. I think what's interesting about this one in particular is like we knew Jod at some point was going to. I think we were leaning into the triple cross, right? It's still not completely off the table, but I think at this point the hand has been shown. Jod is the bad guy, right? At this point, I think his dissension into really standing at odds with the kids, I don't think there is a redeeming part of where he is, because I don't think there's anybody like him killing Brutus. I think was the definitive moment that I wasn't actually expecting. Brutus died a classic Star Wars bad guy death of joining at the time Boba Fett, looking so incredibly badass, and then dying, just getting murked. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh
yes,
dang, Brutus. But Brutus at the same time is also, he was the second in command. Jod knew that he was coming for him no matter what. So I think that kind of established that Jod is now the bad, right? I think we knew that was going to have to come. This part of it, what I think is interesting looking at it, is someone has been coming to At Aton, the emissary,
right?
Someone's been coming, and it seems like it's been a while, because they don't recognize him, so it assumes that the person can change, possibly, right? But it makes it seem like there's a couple of these At Aton ships that have been able to come in and leave. So it's almost like they're like registered ships that are allowed to be able to go to and from At Aton. So I don't know. I'm very curious about this, of how there is no seemingly like a ID, a code. I mean, Jod walks right in and he's like, of course I'm the emissary. And they're like, here we go.
I mean, it's pretty automated because he's just talking to droids. So if the key is just the ship, whoever gets off the ship is cool. As far as the droid goes, it's just protocol, basically.
Right. But I think between connecting all these dots here is you have the frigate outside. Someone is funding, we know that the New Republic is corrupt due to Mando season 3 that kind of confirm that. So we still have the Shadow remnant. We still have, who's funding Thrawn, who's funding all of these things. This show could be more connected to the rest of the Mandoverse than we might have originally been expecting, because again, Favreau and Filoni are still part of this. This is a very easy layup into going old school Republic Imperial credits, or old school Republic credits that are worth a lot of money, funding something. We know that thanks to Mando season 3 that the Imperials have gone through the ranks of the New Republic. They're still existing. I don't know. This like opens up a lot of doors outside of just this tiny little story for Skeleton Crew.
I feel like since we can't answer all that in this next episode, we're going to get a stinger sort of thing at the very end. And it's going to plant that seed for everything you're talking about. I don't we want to see all the stuff. I mean, we've got this bingo card full of shit that's not going to happen. We want to see it all. And I think that's next season stuff. I think it's all like it would be absurd to have something as massive as this mint with these 1,139 vaults of this size just to be like, it's a big treasure. There has to be some larger implication that ties in, like you're saying. And I think we're just going to get a seed planted at the very end, and then we're going to see it in a few years.
Right.
Or next year or whatever,
Yeah,
right.
I do like that though. I mean, they might not know that they're funding an empire too,
Right.
They could just be, although they are talking to, it's a Republic emissary, right? So unless that's even shady, it's not really a Republic emissary. They're just saying they are, and they're coming and grabbing a bunch of money and then funding the empire somehow.
This is reminding me of Camino.
100%.
That deal.
Yeah.
Even the way it was, the vastness of like the CGI of that was very prequels. Like once they went below, once the ship went below into the vaults, I was like, ooh, this is very prequely.
Right. Well, and friend of the pod, Brooke McDonald, like messaged me. She's like, that is like basically the automated bangs of the droids working, the smelting, if you would call it, was almost straight up from Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
I was like, I did recognize that. There was definitely like something rhythmic about the whole thing. I think in this part though, if we're looking at this, I think the big reveals was like, are we going to find out if Jod is a Jedi or not? Now he opens up the lightsaber, scares the crap out of the kids. He looked awkward with the lightsaber. He was waving it around like he was almost like, ooh, look at this thing. Like he was not comfortable with it.
Like, what's his name? The executive who showed off the self extending lightsaber at the 23.
Yeah, Josh Amaro or whoever. Yeah, there was definitely.
My glass?
Yeah, right. Yeah, but there was definitely. I mean, he cut off SM-33. Said, "Rest in peace."
Yeah,
right. But we know droids can be rebuilt. But I think looking at that, I think that is an indicator that Jod might not be the, is he in the, survivor of Order 66? What is this? It might be a little bit more simple than that. Or it might be that Jod was force sensitive. Same thing, goes in front of the Jedi, gets rejected.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
that makes him super crusty, and that makes him find this crew, and he's still got this like this kind of raw force ability that doesn't really do anything for him other than sway people's minds. He might have some Jedi mind tricks that he's learned along the way, but I think all in all, I think it's like we're kind of establishing at this point that Jod is the bad guy. Jod might not be a Jedi. Do we need him to be a Jedi? Is Fern? I think Fern and Jod are set up to do something. I don't know. I'm like, give me to next week.
What I was thinking in the moment when he was waving the lightsaber around them and saying you're a bunch of spoiled children, annoying little whatever. I was thinking after those 2 straight up murders that he did, is one of these kids going to have to kill him? And what does that mean for these kids? Is this about like the death of the innocence of these kids on all levels. Like their home planet is this whole other thing. One of them kills a guy. Like, are we getting into a whole different kind of movie from the 80s potentially in this last episode?
I mean, this. What do you think, Nick?
I have no clue where it's going. I think that
It's so refreshing.
yeah, it's cool, but I almost feel like I could almost get like this Gollum feeling from Jod right now.
Oh,
So
yeah.
maybe they're triple. I'm gonna be wrong since I brought it up on our bingo card, but the triple cross might not be coming because right
Sure.
now, who would Jod? What is Jod's ultimate goal here? Is it treasure? And what would stop him from getting the treasure right now? For him to, like, what would come between him and the treasure where he would need to get back on the kid's side, I guess, you know? That
Right,
would be ultimately why I'm like starting to doubt that.
Sure.
Yeah, or if he got some of it and bailed and he's about to jump to hyperspace, what could possibly bring him back?
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
He killed the big bad.
Yeah.
But he might just be Gollum right now, just so
Yeah.
happy that he has the ring, right, just into
Could
the
be
lava.
Skeleton Crew, the desolation of Jod. That could work. I don't know. I think having Jod as this conniving, I think he's an interesting. I think he acted the hell out of that scene. Jude Law crushed that as we expected Jude Law would do. But I think this was probably his most pointed performance in the show yet, because he's kind of almost acted a little bit as like a jester, like, you know what I mean? He's kind of had this like, ooh, but like that quick little moment where Fern's mom or Wim's dad is like, don't tell anyone about the planet. And then he just looks over and goes, uh-oh,
Yeah.
like, I was like, that's awesome. And he puts the helmet back on and he's like, you know what I mean? I mean, that's, I think what's interesting from the perspective of knowing everything that we know, that like he is Captain Silvo. Like that's who he thinks he is, you know? And I think that's always been from people who know Batman. It's like, you know, Batman is who he is. Bruce Wayne is the mask. And I think Captain Silvo is who Jod feels like he is, right? All these names, all these different people he screwed over, but Captain Silvo is who he thinks he is.
He's the dude playing the dude disguised as another dude.
Survive.
Okay. What is your favorite color? What do we... I was about to get into speculation territory.
I mean, we can
like, I was about to go too deep. Like, let's talk about our bingo cards, our one bingo card, to get into some speculation. Okay. And then, since we don't have an official Den of Antiquities list, we have a few references and things. We can just talk through them.
Sure.
And call out a few things that we saw, and there's some good ones from the patrons in the patron chat. So, bingo cards. Some things that we for sure are completely crossing off. Search for Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber is the central thing. Obviously not. Maz Kanata. Doubt we're going to see her. There's no way that would make any sense. Jod will triple cross the kids. Nick, when you say triple cross, we discussed this before. The word you were trying to land on to represent what you meant was he was going to double cross them and then redeem himself, right?
Yeah, like gain their trust, double cross them, then come back.
So basically, the scenario would be Vane comes down, or they're trying to escape, and Vane is like hot on their tail, and Jod blows up Vane.
Yeah. Ultimately, it comes down to it. The kids are going to get killed, and it's by someone else, and he has a change of heart.
I want him to stay bad. I like him bad.
I like it.
Yeah.
The money thing just driving him mad. Sure. I like that story. I
want to know his story. Like, can we find out his story before he stays bad and maybe gets dead?
I think he said in an interview that you get his story at the end.
Okay, sick.
So this either is some dialogue or something, or some actual flashback that maybe hits right at the cold open. I'm not sure. But I think we're going to get a little bit more about him, and I hope it's a longer episode, but I don't know. I'm still thinking like something happens. At Aton boots them all. At Aton changes positions, something.
Yeah. I can see him in one like mini monologue as a response
Sure.
to say, Wim or Neil saying, "But you're a Jedi. This is Jedi code is this. Why would you, do this?" And he's like, "You know what?" And then just lays it all out.
The Jedi rejected me, same
Right,
as everyone does. Right.
Lightsaber in hand.
Yep.
Spills it all. Hondo Onaka appearing on screen on the bingo card.
Dang it, we're not going to get it.
No way we're getting it now.
He's going to say, "That's all, folks," at the end.
That's all, folks.
That reminds me, I was going to ask this before.
Sure.
In terms of how far someone goes and whether or not they can be redeemed, did Hondo ever go as far as Jod?
No.
Was he ever as villainous as Jod is right now?
No. Hondo has gone from someone who, they respected him because he basically ran the pirates, right? He was in charge of that planet of, the Klatooini and like all of that. But by the time we meet him in Rebels, he's basically on the run. He's basically kind of like this court jester of a character. I don't think they would have Hondo. I think how Hondo exists in Galaxy's Edge right now is the most current form of Hondo. So he's someone who's not totally afraid to be seen or found in a public space, but he's constantly someone who's on the run, So I don't see him. I don't see them turning Hondo's character.
I'm saying,
go ahead.
I'm not talking about turning Hondo's character into something. I'm saying,
Sure.
Is it possible for Jod to get a redemption for Jod based on sort of the Hondo model? Because Hondo, there was some kidnapping. And
he did some sketchy stuff. Definitely not disagreeing, but I'm saying in terms of like straight up looking over and saying, I'm gonna kill you.
He never went there.
No.
Okay. So Jod is in uncharted territory in terms of like a lovable scoundrel who goes a little far and comes back.
Yeah, I would
kind of for
this is a little far. I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Walkman style music player is shown. Not going to see that. Han Solo and or Chewbacca mention. Maybe there's no reason.
Sure.
Maybe it couldn't be mentioned. Leia Organa mentioned. I think that's possible because we're talking about Republic emissaries. We're talking about the outside world. And Wim's dad said something about, it's stuff you guys wouldn't know about until you graduate. So apparently the adults know much more about what At Aton actually is.
Yeah.
Right.
They seem to be very surprised by outsiders arriving. Like when that park the ground was opening up.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, what the hell? Yeah.
So it has been, and I see on YouTube too, that people agreed that it was like, this hasn't been this way for a long time. Like it's almost like there were people that didn't know that ground actually that's how they got to the vaults. So that makes me think that it has been a while since an emissary has arrived. And so that's what makes me think that the droids might have just assumed they didn't need any.
Right.
You know what I mean? Man, what do we do? Where do we go?
One of the kids is force sensitive. That was another one on here. I'm not going to get that. The ship
think
kids
so?
find. I don't know. Maybe there's a little glimmer of something.
Fern.
You think it would be Fern?
I think Wim. We had talked about this in the Discord. That ship at Akron, the big gun on the top of the school. Wim has been the gunner every time he's had the opportunity, and he's like learned how to do it. I know that I can't remember the girl's name, but she shows Neil the gun and he's like, it's not for me. But Wim is like, I'm on the gun.
Yeah.
They have a big frigate coming in and they need a big gun to shoot that thing down. it's going to be Wim, right? But Fern and Jod have been like this the whole series. So it
that's a
makes
good
me
point.
think that Fern versus Jod in some level, because Fern's whole thing has been about being a leader and being able to make the decisions that she needs to make. And that might be
Questioning herself.
right. Like
Yeah.
Neil's gonna be the great negotiator between like the rest of the pirates or something, or he's gonna turn some of the pirates. Like I mean, you know, or his parents are like, we're gonna blow up
Right.
these pirates, and Neil's gonna be like, no, let him go, and you know something. You know what I mean? And then Fern or something. All the kids are going to have their moment. And that's what I think it is. Maybe KB. Yeah. I think we've speculated that the supervisor is a droid or is on some kind of tracks.
Some kind of AI, yeah.
Exactly.
Something.
And that could
Wizard of Oz style.
100%.
Sort of.
And KB is the one that like fries him. You know what I mean? I think they're going to have all those. The kids are going to have their moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. The ship is pre-High Republic. Nick, your pick on the bingo card here.
Bingo.
Do we know?
It was heavily implied.
Yeah.
They called it an antique.
Well, if At Aton is an Old Republic mint and it's an At Aton ship, that means it's High Republic. Or I'm sorry, Old Republic.
Patrons, what do you think? Tell us in the chat. Kids Planet has an Imperial Remnant presence. That would only be if it's like we were saying earlier. You know, the Camino style. They're dealing with the bad guys, not the good guys. Tentacle creatures, not force sensitive. Batu location, not getting that.
Damn.
Bummed.
Ever.
Still.
Unless, Mike, you're saying, they have to bail at the end. And they just pick a random, first star to the left style, and they just jump into hyperspace and come out, and they're, in the Batu system.
I'm telling you, I am still on Team Peridia. I know it's crazy, but like Aton is out in some space it's not supposed to be found. Peridia is the same.
Yeah.
There's got to be some kind of highway that connects all these planets, and I don't know. Is Peridia the old name? Is Peridia actually a different name? All the other old mints were destroyed. I don't know, but I'm still thinking that there is some connection to the Mandoverse, and we still have to figure out how to get Ahsoka back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Wouldn't you think that by now though, like because they made it there would be some mention of seeing the coordinates, and they're like, that's an entirely other galaxy.
Absolutely.
What the hell? But
absolutely,
we haven't gotten that yet. So I would love the Peridia. So anything in Peridia's galaxy would be so sick. But there have been like 3 or 4 opportunities to mention it being in another galaxy if it is like the observatory, Kim's place. You know what I mean?
I do. I think there's a part of me that looks back on this and goes, if they mention Peridia too early, it throws off the storyline. What would set the hype train to stun is if it comes right at the end and it's like, now we got Skeleton Crew and Ahsoka and Mando. Now we're all like cooking with gas here, which I know some people are going to be frustrated about. I know some people are like, keep Skywalker stuff away, all of that. Like, I totally understand that. And I've seen that a lot of people have been very excited about it. I'm just saying, like, I can't see how this show with Filoni and Favreau, like, they wouldn't think of a way to tie this in, because I think they've recognized the magic of what this show is doing for Star Wars right now. So
for sure.
A few points made in the YouTube chat is that the pirate frigate, how would it get to Peridia? Think about the big to-do that they had to get from the Skywalker galaxy to Peridia.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
So I feel like that crushes that idea.
Yeah. Let's.
What did they call that drive? The big
ring. Yeah. The Eye of Sion.
Yeah. Something, not a hyperspace or not a hyperdrive. It was like an ultra drive or something.
No, wasn't it called the Eye of Sion?
Yeah, but didn't it have some other technical thing, like not just a standard hyperdrive will get you there? It needs to be
Oh,
yada yada yada.
oh yeah, right.
Insert
the additional
technobabble.
ring. Yeah.
Poe Dameron's parents. Who knows? Maybe one of those X-wing pilots. That's still possible. Kids learn about the Galactic Civil War in school. Good point in the patron chat from Physics Buddy Joe, because Wim's dad said they'd learn things when they graduated.
Mm-hmm.
That's a stretch to give it to us because they're not in school. But if we want to hand ourselves a bingo win, that's there. If we want to stretch it, Quavian Death Gang or Conja Club. Who knows? Maybe here's the thing: it could be Mando style, like once the seal is broken, so to speak.
Sure.
All of the bounty hunters, all of the pirates, all the whoever are like, what? And then they start coming out of the woodwork.
Legendary treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Another Captain EO reference. Did we ever even establish what that could be? That we would. I don't remember which one of us put that on the board.
I don't even know if I would recognize it, honestly.
Well, I mean, like is one of the characters in the background, one of the
Right.
pirates wearing, MJ's coat, or you know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's a very simple way for them to do that. It's a weird thing. I could certainly see some of the characters. I mean, I think originally the story of Nick, wasn't it you who were saying that like Neil was originally green? Or someone was,
that's redacted.
There's a rumor of that.
Okay. There was a rumor of such, which would have been more of a Captain EO reference because of, I can't remember his name, but he's got more holes in his tentacles and stuff like, you know what I mean? In his trunk. What's the
Snuffleupagus?
No, okay, dang it.
I saw Captain EO when I was like 7, live, like at Disney World. I have no clue. I don't remember anything about it.
Is it Babar? Is it Dumbo?
It's Hooter.
Hooter.
Hooter is basically like the inspiration for Neil. If Neil was green, he would look just like Hooter from Captain EO. So I'm sure that there was a specific reason for why they changed the paint job, but I think all in all, it's like that you could have said that, but obviously this for a different discussion. So let's get to the end of next week and find out if we have bingo or not.
Well, very last one on the card, Rancor Squadron appearance, still possible. Very possible. I would feel
bad for Paul
if he
point.
didn't. Yeah,
but
if someone's going to show up, it should be him.
Yeah, but I also feel bad that they're all like that. Like Paul, they're like, "Hey, Paul, we need you to step off an X-wing." And go, "Hey, what's going on here?" Like Paul's like, "I'm ready to like do more," like which I would get, and waiting for his Black Series still. I mean, what's going on?
Hey. I assume that he is more than happy at any moment to drive down to Manhattan Beach, put on that flight suit, and step out of an X-wing. Any of us would be
100%. And I want that for him. So yeah, I don't know. I think this show. I'm very curious to know how long the episode is. I'm very interested to see in what direction they take it. Is it just a straight up space battle? The kids want to go back up. Is this an attack on At Aton? Is this the people versus the droids versus the pirates? Like what is this going to be?
I wonder if more pirates show up. Like one of the people on the pirate frigate right now, just lets one other like place know that there's a giant world of treasure.
That's right.
And like that's a like huge thing happens.
That's what I'm saying.
Hello, my friends.
Friggin' there we go. I'm saying.
Sure. Well, that's kind of the thing about pirates, though, right? Like they're all as loyal until they have an opportunity to not be.
Right.
you know, and that's kind of what I think we saw there. But at the same time, it's like that's Jod kind of said that as a flex to Brutus. He's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. They love me. And he's kind of like, ha. And the rest of them were like, actually, he's legit.
Yeah.
So, you know, there is certainly something there. But yeah, I it's a great show, man. I like this.
And would you say that officially now, per SM33's compliance with the rule, are takesy backsies now part of the pirate code?
Yes, because it seemed to work, right?
I'm saying. Yeah.
What was the quote from? Was this in the patron chat, or did I just, or am I remembering this? The Captain Barbosa from Dead Man's Chest or whatever it was. It was like, it's not really as much a code as more of just like a saying, you know? And I think like SM33 just finally admitting that Jod is enough of a jerk.
Yeah.
That he's like, well, all right, let's do it. You know what I mean? And,
Right.
and I think that's what's super funny. But the claimsies thing has been Wim's like awesome line throughout this whole thing. You know, gets on. He's like, well, claimsies on the new ship. I'm just like, this is peak.
I love it. All right, let's do a loose discussion-based 10 of Antiquities.
For over 1,000 generations.
It is the dark saber.
Torgon. Togosh.
It's a Kalikori.
A Sith wayfinder.
Dark science. Cloning. Secrets only the Sith knew.
If you guys have any, we could just kind of rotate any references that you thought reminded you of stuff. We can be loose about it in that sense. And then we have a couple from the patrons that I want to read off. Or
I could only think of one that was at the beginning where they didn't even finish the quote, but I think it was one of KB's moms just said, I've got a bad.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then that's really the only one I remember.
Awesome.
Yeah. I felt like the droids looking for them through the woods felt very ET to me.
Yes.
When the police or the FBI or whoever is like looking for Elliot and all them, they're like trying to get ET through there. Felt very, very Amblin to me. And then we're having this internal debate. I would love to hear the patrons talk about this. Was that Kylo Ren's rearranged theme song at the end, which I don't think is a reference to the Rens, but I'm just saying in terms of like,
You guys are crazy.
We are crazy.
You guys are
It's
crazy.
the same instrumentation.
It's
Did
a
anybody
horn
else
in the
hear
same
this?
key. Like you can't just like, that's
Dude,
not how music works.
So, that's exactly how music works.
No, but you
Um,
can't. No, you can't just say like the Ramones ADE is like anytime I hear ADE on a guitar is a Ramones ripoff.
It's actually about 14,000 songs ADE, but you're
Yeah.
right. But I think in some ways, I think Mick has been playing with different references throughout Star Wars intentionally. Brooke also pointed out that, you know, there's a very similar melody from when Anakin meets Padme, which is kind of that like, you know, this feeling of going, this is relief, this is something interesting. So I don't know, I'm very open to hearing people's and I mean you could be either Team Nick or Team Adam about this. And personally, I would love to and to the point, like Kyle talks is saying on YouTube that we already went through Kylo's theme being in the Acolyte.
Yeah.
Right. So they're not
And
afraid
that was direct.
that was intentional. That was
Yeah.
that was Sith, that was Ren, that was all those things.
I would guess that Nick Giacchino, anyone who is capable of composing for screen, for film or television, knows music and knows Star Wars well enough that even if they're not trying to copy something and they just want to allude to something, they want to give you the feeling of something dark or something
Right.
Jubilant or regal, anything. They combine the notes that they need to combine to give you the feeling, whether or not it's actually a reference to the thing. And I would guess that's what he did here.
I think I don't think it's to actually note like lead to anything Kylo Ren. I think it's just literally like, hey, in case you were curious if Jod is actually a bad guy, why don't we give him a bad guy theme? You know, something familiar. So I don't know. Team Nick, Team Adam. on the Kylo Ren rearrangement.
If that's what you're saying, then fine. But if you're saying that it's
Now he's-
Kylo's theme because
No,
his
no, no,
now
no.
has something to do with
Now,
something,
now he's
then
Yeah.
walking
crazy.
it back. It sounds like Nick is on Team Adam. Thank you so much for your vote, Nick.
I would
0%.
here's if we want to think about it a little harder,
Sure.
like and try to assign some more specific motivation to it. I would say if you do something in the Imperial era, you pick something that sounds a little bit like the Imperial March. That's
Yeah.
reminiscent of it. A couple notes.
Sure.
If you want to reference something dark in the New Republic era, you do something that sounds like Kylo. And I don't think it's anything more than that. You know what I mean?
Sure. The Imperial bad guy is Vader.
Mm-hmm.
The prequel is Palpatine. The
Mhm.
post is Kylo. I'm down with that. For sure.
Did you guys think at all at the beginning the communicator thing that the parents were sending up?
Mhm.
Did that remind you of anything from the 80s? Any movies? There were two for me.
I thought it was actually the bunker bomb from Endor when they set it up. I was like, oh, that looks familiar, but it wasn't.
More like when it rose up.
Yeah.
The shot and just the way it's a cobbled together little thing, it made me think of the Explorers, it's called. Remember this movie?
No.
Always
Mike.
took it out from the library.
Dude, Nick, phenomenal, right? Like,
I haven't seen it in probably 30 something years.
I just bought it. It's $5 on iTunes.
Yeah.
It's about these kids who build their own spaceship in their garage and go to space.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah. I guess I for some reason I'm like, oh, the Explorers. It felt ET. I think some of the some of the YouTube comments are saying ET looked like a ship in
Also-
Close Encounters.
Batteries not included.
Yeah. That's a good reference for sure.
I love that.
Wim did also, this is like a little bit, not a stretch because it's not like a tangible thing, but like on the ship, Wim was having that very Amblin-esque, like Goonies thing where he's just like, I don't want the adventure to end. If we go home, like it's
Right.
just going to be, life's just going to be normal again. Like that's
He's like
very
Mikey,
Amblin.
very Mikey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
The obvious one, when he draws the lightsaber on the kids,
Mhm.
the angle, the way he holds it down. Captain Silvo, there are too many of them. What are we going to do? You know,
Sure.
so that meme needs to be made.
Yeah.
That
But
reel
he-
needs to be made.
Yeah. Oh, that would be fun. That's a good edit. Yeah.
Physics Buddy Joe in the patron chat pointed out. No, actually, he provided the screenshots, but it was Logie One Kenobi who said the generators for the barrier looked really close to the orbital satellites from Operation Cinder in Battlefront 2. Physics Buddy
Ooh.
Joe got the screenshots. You are correct, sirs. Operation Cinder?
So
I mean,
Operation Cinder, for people who are like, what is that? Basically what happens is Palpatine has a contingency plan that if something happens to him, there are these essentially like nukes that get sent to destroy kind of the people who are disloyal and loyal to the Empire, is kind of this just ultimate destruction plan so that the Empire has to start over. It's referenced in The Mandalorian in season 2, which I think is called The Believer. And it's where Bill Burr's Miggs Mayfeld is looking at that officer and being like, I can't believe we did that. We allowed that to happen. And he kind of is like, that's an order. You got to do what you got to do. The people needed to be punished for, not helping the Empire. So again, this goes back to going, they control the weather Camino style, but like, could these things also destroy At Aton? And the kids get off At Aton in time of complete Alderaan, and the ships that the snub fighters that we see are actually pieces of At Aton.
brutal.
I don't know. That could be dark.
I feel like if they keep this Amblin vibe, it's not going to get that dark.
Sure.
I don't know if I wanted to. It would be a bold, brave
That's more
choice, but-
that's more Andor than Skeleton Crew.
right.
Right.
Yeah, that's a little much for me, but it would be sick. And then there's one more in the patron chat. This goes back to Stolen Plans. Supervisor is Stephen Fry is the voice of the supervisor.
Yeah. Yep.
Did we say that out loud?
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Okay, I thought we just said his name.
Yep.
I guess that's it. I thought there was another one.
Oh, here's a fun little detail too. I should have said it when we saw whoever the kind of female enforcer was that works with Silvo. That's actually patrol trooper armor, who are the biker, kind of the pseudo biker scouts from Solo.
Oh yeah.
So it's just kind of cool, and most people recognize those the carves in the shoulders. A lot of people think those are from Death Troopers, and they are. But the all white version, he has a patrol trooper chest and kind of reimagined. So that's two references to Solo, with the mud trooper goggles and the patrol trooper, which I'm here for. I love it.
Dude, I watched Solo the other day, front to back.
It's awesome.
And it's been a while. Yeah, it's so
Solo's
good.
awesome. It's awesome. It's an awesome Star Wars movie.
It's one of those that I hope gets the appreciation it deserves at some point. Who knows if it will, because it's not a Skywalker saga film, but God, it deserves it.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for that Lando show to actually happen. I hope it still is. Donald Glover, get it together.
Agreed.
All right. Anything else before we wrap up and pick a bonus segment question?
No, let's do it. Let's get us to next week. And then it's going to be really sad because I feel like our hype is going to be unreal. And then we have nothing for Star Wars except for celebration announcements from here on out. We have Mos Eisley, which we're excited about. But it's going to be in terms of rumors and what's happening here. Diego Luna interviewed at the Golden Globes. They said, "How do you feel? What's coming up for you?" And he said, I'm sad because Andor's story is done," which means pretty much exactly as we thought. Andor is probably going to wrap up right at the beginning of Rogue One, which is great. But at this point, yeah, it'll be a slow year for Star Wars after Celebration. So
that's how you make money, Disney. Don't put anything out.
Yeah.
I'm still hoping we get an animated series that we weren't expecting. Filoni's got something up his sleeve.
I like it.
Or not, because he's working on the film. Who knows?
Right.
But the animation team is so strong. The bench is so deep in terms of producers and writers and everything. There's no reason he couldn't have an idea, executive produce it. Jennifer Corbett and everybody goes off and executes.
Right.
So.
Well, I think we're gonna get Andor the same way that we got Kenobi. Maybe first 3 episodes drop at Celebration. You know what I mean? Because they're in these arcs, which would be kind of crazy. But I think like it's not unheard of for them to do that if you get into the panel at Celebration. Because I think they did that with Kenobi. I think they showed the first 2 episodes or the first 3 episodes. I can't remember.
Some did that with this too. Some people saw 3 episodes of Skeleton Crew.
Yeah. Okay. So, was that in the movie theater, right? Or was that just at the premiere at Disney?
I don't remember if that was the movie theater or Disneyland, if those are 2 different things, or just screeners.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I think we could see that, but certainly I think, and I think we're going to get a Mando Grogu movie teaser trailer probably. And I'm actually, now here's the other crazy part. We are 3 weeks away from the Super Bowl. 4 weeks away from the Super Bowl. If you mean to tell me that Star Wars is only going to put a trailer together for Andor to sign up for Disney Plus, I don't think so. I actually think we might get a trailer for Mando Grogu.
A teaser, yeah.
But that wouldn't be a Disney Plus thing, though. That Mando Grogu's going to theaters.
Well, a teaser trailer that would drop online, that they might do Andor for Disney Plus to promote on the Super Bowl. But I'm saying online, they might drop a Mando Grogu teaser trailer to say, because it's not crazy to go, we're a little over a year and a half away. They finished filming 2 months ago.
Yeah.
They had enough of a teaser trailer at, what was that, D23, that there still isn't a good version of it out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where it's got Mando and the AT-AT at the end. So there's definitely something there. So I think Super Bowl could also give us something that we're not expecting either.
And the Mandalorian Grogu are Disney Plus's like number one Star Wars property. So
100%.
Even if the movie's not coming out for a year and a half, if people want to go back and start watching the series, that's probably worth their money
for sure.
Commercial
For
spot.
sure. Yep. Because you still have to look at the fact that like Andor is going to be the most expensive production they've ever done. That just came out, which is crazy, but also highly, highly, highly sought after in regards to the viewership. The people who watched it appreciate it, but it's not a well-known property. So it would be weird for them to spend all this money on promoting it unless it's just for D+. And I think Daredevil is the next thing to come out on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So
May 22nd, 26 is when the movie comes out. So at the time of the Super Bowl, that's not much more than a year away.
it's totally possible. They've done that with the Avengers. They've dropped the teaser trailers. It's not out. And like I said, they already have it. They actually have a trailer for it. They have a teaser trailer for it, which is what they showed at D23. So they could just drop that in an official release.
Brooke also said in the chat that Doug Chang posted that he has something exciting to share in April.
For Celebration. Makes sense.
Yeah. So,
And this May, are they going to announce that Revenge of the Sith is going back to the theaters?
Oh, that would be sick.
That would be great. I mean, I would even do Rogue One in theaters when Andor comes out, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Why not?
Great
That's also possible. Do the, like Rogue One, the same, like, I don't know if you guys watched it, like when Batman and, Avengers and all that came out, they were like doing marathons leading up to it,
Shut up and take my money.
I'm
That's
in.
what I say. All right, let's get out of here. And the after show bonus segment for patrons, I have two options here. You guys pick. First one in the technology category. If you could bring one kind of technology from Star Wars to Earth, which would it be? The other option in the category of the Force, you're 9 years old, like Anakin Skywalker, and a Jedi offers to take you away from home for training. Would you go?
Nick, you pick because you
I like the technology one.
Okay.
The Jedi leaving my... I don't want to leave my mommy when I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you got a 2-for-1 because Nick already gave that answer. Everyone who's not a patron got a freebie.
There you go. Congratulations, guys. It's a holiday season. It's just wrapping up. We'll give you a little freebie, and after that, you're not getting anything.
Season of giving.
Yep.
All right. Anything else before we go?
Mosh Isley tickets are on sale now.
Month away.
Yeah, we have. I think we have an exciting announcement we can hopefully drop very soon here. But Dion from Amberlin is going to be DJing. We're gearing up some behind the scenes stuff. It's going to be super fun. And MegaCon is going to be great. They're announcing Ashley Eckstein announced today. There's going to be a lot of Star Wars stuff. So it's going to be a great time down in Florida. So if you're not coming to Celebration, we totally encourage you to come to MegaCon. Come to Mosh Isley with us. Great event. Going to be a lot of fun. Come nerd out with us. Love Star Wars. Love emo music before these guys both go on tour. So Mosh Isley tickets are on sale at moshisley.com.
On the internet. Dudes, I will see you in just a minute. Everyone else, thanks for watching and listening. And until next week, may the Force be with you. If you enjoy Thank the Maker, you can support us by following and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Or you can support us directly at patreon.com/thankthemakerpod, where you can get access to our Discord server, exclusive content, exclusive merch, our recording live stream, and more. Our patrons quite literally make Thank the Maker possible.